What if I told you that you could hit Expert rank in the Ultra League Weather Cup without using a single XL Pokemon? If it sounds too good to be true, I got the proof right here. Climbed 200 points from Veteran rank to Expert rank in 2 days using this team with no XL Pokemon on it. So let's go ahead and check it out. What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're talking about the Weather Cup that's taking place currently in the Ultra League. Now, the Weather Cup has been here before, and it does only allow you to use Fire, Water, Ice, and Rock-type Pokemon in it, and this is the first time it's been available in the Ultra League format, so anything under 2500 CP is fair game as long as it has one of those 4 typings. Now, the main issue with most Ultra League formats currently is the requirement for XL Pokemon, which are very expensive to build, can be quite inaccessible to build. You've got to spend a lot of time and resources gathering those XL candies, which can make it pretty tough. So I wanted to give it a go using a team that has no XL Pokemon on it. And it's worked out really well for me, actually, because the meta's quite stale. I think in this cup it's a lot of Jellicent, it's a lot of Cradily and Sandslash, a lot of Abomasnow, and those Pokemon are great and they work really, really well, but I want to use things outside that box, and I've climbed a couple of 100 points up from about 2500 ELO, stuck at Veteran rank, up to 2800 ELO is what I actually peaked at using this team. And now I've run out of battles, so I can't actually do any more currently to see how much further this team can take me, but as of right now, I'm at around 2800 ELO. Now, when you first look at this team, you might think there's no way in hell that works at that ELO rating. There's no way it's going to work against those XL Pokemon and those kind of teams, but I promise you, it does. It's not going to win every game for you. No team is going to do that well, but this team is very, very strong, even though it's not particularly an intuitive lineup. So, on the lead, we're bringing Kyurem with the legacy move Glaciate, to be specific, and you do want Glaciate for certain matchups. It's going to help you hit some Pokemon for a little bit more damage, and getting that attack debuff can be vital in quite a few matchups. Kyurem, I think, is a little bit overlooked and neglected in the Ultra League, to be honest, with Glaciate, because it is very, very strong. It is a little squishy compared to a lot of the, especially the XL Pokemon floating around in Ultra League, but it's really strong. Glaciate's a really great move, and I think it needs to get a bit more use in general, even in the Open Great Ultra League even, sorry, I think it can have some pretty solid play. In the back, we're bringing the Shadow Mud Boy, Swampert itself. Swampert is incredibly strong in any format it's allowed in. You know that by now. You've been seeing Swamperts since Go Battle League started. It's incredibly strong, incredibly useful, incredibly versatile. And as long as you keep it away from the grass types, in particular, in this meta, picks like Abomasnow and Cradily, it generally has pretty strong play against just about everything else. And then, of course, rounding out the lineup is what I would call the MVP of this team, and that's going to be Regice. Regice being one that also gets overlooked quite a bit in the Ultra League. People opt for Registeel or even Regirock over Regice in general, but in this meta, it's got a great center coverage. It can really threaten just about everything, depending on what charge moves you want to run on it. Personally, I'm running Thunder and Focus Blast, so I can hit the Jellicents, I can hit the Ice types and the Rock and Steel types for super effective damage. It pretty much gives you at least neutral coverage on everything in the cup. Now, I think that makes this a pretty cheap team, and that's relative, obviously, because most legendary Pokemon still require 100,000 dust for a second charge move, which means both Kyurem and Regice are going to cost you 100,000 dust, as well as 20, 30, 40,000 dust to power up to 2500 CP. Swampert is a pretty cheap build in general, but this is cheap relative to the XL Pokemon, which will cost you about 500,000 dust each to build if you've got to max them out to level 50, as well as the second move and all that. So it's a relatively cheap team, but also it can be classed as an expensive team because you need elite charge TMs if you don't have these moves on these Pokemon, because Kyurem needs Glaciate, Swampert needs Hydro Cannon, and for my particular way of running this team, Regice needs Thunder, which I do highly recommend because being able to two-shot Jellicent is incredibly useful. But if you're like me and you've got more elite TMs than you know what to do with, but you're constantly running out of Stardust, then this might be a solid shout for a team for you to build rather than investing $1 million, $1.5 million dust in picks like Cradily and Sandslash, Abomasnow, and Jellicent. So be sure to hit the subscribe button for more teams, lineups, and squads for these different cups, and let's jump into looking at some gameplay. So here we've got a Jellicent lead that swapped out midway through the matchup with Kyurem, and we've ended up committing shields, and now we've gone down both shields. They've still got 2, we've got Swampert in, and we've taken out the Regice that swapped in. Now, they do actually call a bait on us not throwing an Earthquake there, but we're just going to throw another Hydro Cannon here with the Force Shield. I'll get rid of the Jellicent completely. They decide to let the Jellicent go, and this is an interesting position to be in because we're going to be able to get another Hydro Cannon here against the Regirock that's in the back, so this trainer is opting for a double Regi strategy with a Jellicent on the lead. I'm guessing to deal with like the fighters, things like Blaziken and stuff like that. But when they're down to one Pokemon here, we can just debuff the crap out of them with Kyurem, because Kyurem's quite squishy. Stone Edge is going to do huge damage, which I'm assuming is a move they're going to throw. The Art's going to take us out, but we've debuffed them. And they might have Stone Edge, which is spammy and is super effective and stab against Regice, but Regice is an absolute unit. So we're going to be able to survive 2 Stone Edges at this point. You see, first one comes through, not doing quite 50% of our health. The lock-on is not going to make up the difference here. So they need to land 3 Stone Edges to take us out, which is incredibly nice for us. And we've got the potential to try and catch on Swampert. So the second Stone Edge comes through. It's actually the Earthquake, which they throw instead, hoping that maybe it's going to do more damage. It doesn't. They're going to surrender there, and it's going to be a GG. Alright, here we've got the big boy on lead, Cradily, the single highest rated Pokemon for this cup in general. And this is quite threatening because it's rock and grass, can hit everything in this meta for pretty solid damage if you have the resources to build one. We're going to stay in with Kyurem. And the way you actually want to play this matchup out here, I go for double Dragon Claw. I don't recommend that. You actually want to go straight for the Glaciate because it's going to hit for super effective damage and will allow you to shield up 1 Stone Edge from Cradily and then Dragon Breath it down entirely, and you come out with a boatload of health, boatload of energy, and at the cost of 1 shield, that's an absolute no-brainer. But they're going to catch our second Dragon Claw on a low and Sandslash. We can bring in Swampert, get lined up against this thing, hit them with 1 Hydro Cannon and go for a full Mud Shot down because they took a Dragon Claw as well, which makes that a little bit of extra health difference. The Cradily comes back in. We've got a Hydro Cannon loaded, so we can force a shield out of them or take them out, leaving with whatever's stuck in the back. They're going to opt for the shield. We're going to make to another Hydro Cannon because Swampert is incredibly spammy. Mud Shot, fantastic for generating that energy. We get the second shield out of them, and we CMP tie, so absolutely perfect for us here. We're not going to be able to Dragon Breath down this Cradily, though, because we've only got like 1 HP on our on Kyurem. So we're going to bring in Regice and start lock-on farming down. Shield a Stone Edge because it would hit like an absolute truck. We go for a cheeky catch on Regice, and we're going to miss it, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt. We're going to have to shield up. We shield up a Grass Knot, which is a little bit unfortunate for us, but there's a Tentacruel in the back. We've got Thunder. This is why you want Thunder on your Regice for these situations, so you can hit these things for super effective damage. It's not going to quite do 50%, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is going to do a lot, and we are going to be able to lock on down this Tentacruel entirely, and this game is as good as done. It's a GG. So we've got Ice on the lead and we've got Ice in the back. That makes us immediately lose to rock type leads, right? Well, here's about as rock type of a lead as it gets. Alolan Golem running Rollout as its fast move, got access to Rock Blast, Stone Edge and Wild Charge, I think, as its charge moves. So we're in a pretty bad spot here because we have to stay in with Kyurem, right? But it's not resisting the Dragon Breaths. And Kyurem's pretty attack weighted. That Dragon Breath's going to add up pretty quick. So we're going to go ahead, throw a Dragon Claw, force a shield, and we're going to go and try and catch a Rock Blast or Stone Edge, whichever ends up being, on Swampert. Is it the move? It is. It's the Rock Blast. That's absolutely fantastic for us. We pull out a Gyarados out of the back, which we don't mind. You might think this is a very dominant matchup for Gyarados, and it is, but you can put a lot of work in with these Hydro Cannons. We're just going to start throwing them at it, start chipping it down, getting it pretty low. We'll let this move go. If it's Aqua Tail, it shouldn't knock us out. If it's Crunch, it might nearly. No, not quite. 1 HP in a dream, and we're going to get the defense drop. No harm, no foul. Swampert's pretty much done for anyway. Throw a second Hydro Cannon, get them nice and low, and we're going to come in and farm down with Kyurem, so we've got more charge moves ready to throw at. Nope, we're going to throw. Okay, I don't know why we didn't throw the. We just farm down there. I guess we just didn't want to take as much fast move damage from the Dragon Breaths. No worries either way. The Golem's going to come back in. We're going to get to another Dragon Claw before they get to another charge move. We're going to force the shield or take them out, see what they've got in the back. They're going to choose to let it go down. And in the back is not Litleo. It's a Pyro, female Pyro, which very, very spicy for this cup. The fire types are really tough to use because of the, there's just so many waters floating around. There's so much that counters them in general. We're going to bring in Regice. We can take 1 Flame Charge. It won't KO us. We need to save the shield for the second Flame Charge that's going to come through. We're going to make it to a Focus Blast. Just absolutely annihilate them, and that's going to be a good game for us. So having a Rock type on the lead and a Fire type still in the back and a Gyarados to meet our Swampert, and this team still wins because Regice, honestly, is so strong in this cup. Okay, Regice lead. Now, the way I like to play this matchup out is you stay in with your Kyurem because Regice is pretty strong in this meta in general. It's we're just going to kind of handle it while it's here, and clear the way for our Pokemon in the back. Now, the way I like to play this matchup out is you shield up and you go for 2 Dragon Claws and farm them down. Now, if they bait you with the Thunder, they will make it to a Focus Blast before you Dragon Breath them down. If they throw Focus Blast and you shield it up, you don't have to shield the second move because it will be a Thunder. They won't quite make it to another Focus Blast the second time around. And of course, my Kyurem's quite attack weighted because it's not PvP heavies or anything like that. It's just IVs I got from a raid. So a little bit of caution if you utilise that strategy for yourself. And Empoleon comes in to farm down our Kyurem, or just to get a head start on whatever. We decide to just swap out to Swampert and see what we pull out of the back. And we pull a Jellicent out, which is fine because we can go for Earthquakes here and either get these 2 shields back or do big damage. And we get both shields back, which is completely fine. We're in a 0 shield scenario at this point. We're going to go for Hydro Cannon for a bit of chip damage. And now we should be able to handle the rest of this matchup because Regice will be able to survive Empoleon's moves long enough to get to a Focus Blast and absolutely just annihilate it, smash it out of existence. And Kyurem's going to be able to finish putting the work in against the Jellicent. So, Empoleon's back in. This is probably going to be a Hydro Cannon. It's not going to hit that hard. You see, he does about a third. And the waterfalls are pretty slow in terms of generating energy. We'll build up as much energy as possible before we throw because we want to be able to try and get to a Thunder as well to pressure the Jellicent to throw any extra energy at us that it might have, just to make sure that Kyurem can definitely finish taking it out. Charizard comes through. It's a Shadow Ball. It will actually knock us out. That's all right. We're here at a Dragon Claw already. We're just timing to make sure that they don't sneak any extra hexes in to give them any extra energy. And we're just going to be able to Dragon Breath them down just as they make it to a Surf. And that's a good game. Now, this match coming up is an absolute doozy. Jellicent on the lead, so pretty neutral matchup. And like I said, the way I like to play this matchup out is if they build it to a Shadow Ball, you shield the first one and then just go to get the Dragon Claws through and take them out. A lot of people will let the Jellicent go and you'll have a reasonably healthy Kyurem to save for whatever might be in the back on their team, get some debuffs with Glaciate and all that. So shield up the first Shadow Ball, that's completely fine. But this trainer swaps into their own Kyurem. So we're going to go for the Glaciate debuff, even though it's a little bit more energy, and then swap to our Regice. And we get the shield out of them because it was a Dragon Claw we'd thrown. It would hit them absolutely like a truck. And we don't need to shield up now because it's going to be Dragon Claw, which isn't that strong of a move, or it's going to be Glaciate that's not very effective. We can go straight for the Focus Blast to absolutely take them out and leave Regice very, very healthy to carry on putting work in. Let's see what follows it back in. What's it going to be? If the Jellicent comes back in, we're going to be able to go for the Thunders and actually finish it off from the health range that it's at. So we'll probably be able to get that shield out of them as well. We do actually end up CMP tying because we overcharge a little bit, which is a bit of a misjudgment on my part. We don't end up taking a Surf, but it's not that big of a deal. We should have just thrown one lock on sooner, to be honest, and we would have been looking a little bit better. We get the shield out of them. So we're down to a 0 shield scenario on the opponent's side. This is a Surf. It might not quite take us out. We might still get to this Thunder, and we do. So we're going to be able to take out the Jellicent. We've got a reasonably healthy Kyurem, and we've got Swampert left for whatever's in the back. What is it going to be? It's Abomasnow. Right. This is scary, yeah? Because if they take out Kyurem, they can just Energy Ball Swampert, right? We're going to let the Weather Ball go through. It is going to take out Kyurem. So we've got Swampert. We've got a sliver of health on our Regice. Abomasnow took a little bit of damage, but not all that much. So the energy's building up. The energy's building up. We have to not shield this. This is Energy Ball. We can't win because they can just go double Energy Ball, take us out before we can do enough fast moves to get the energy that we need. But they don't. They bait us with Weather Ball, puts us in a winning position because now we've got a shield left. We can get to a Hydro Cannon and an Earthquake, which combined is going to do just enough damage, combined with a bit of Dragon Breath damage, take out the Abomasnow. We take the win, and that's a good game. Bet you thought I was going to catch a Charge Move and Regice in that game, right? Well, I was hoping that I could, but didn't really get the chance, and no stress either way. We still managed to play it out and win it just fine. And that gives us a very nice 5-0 set to shoot up to the 2700 ELO range. Now, I did have some ups and downs with this team. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't just straight positive sets. I had a few 2 out of 5s, and even had a 1 out of 5 set at one point. But we are consistently on the up overall using this team. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about a Sandslash lead, because Sandslash can seem like a big problem for this line, right? It's got the Ice typing, the Steel typing to resisting the Dragon damage. It's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, more often than not on this team, you're going to want to use Swampert as a safe swap because it's a better safe swap in general in this meta overall. But against a Sandslash lead, you're going to safe swap Regice because Red Ice has the Focus Blast, can threaten the one-shot, and if they've not got Gyro Ball, Sandslash doesn't beat Red Ice without Gyro Ball. Not many of them are running Gyro Ball anyway, and it's worth shielding that first move if they do build up to it though, just in case. And then as long as you don't let them catch a Focus Blast onto like a Jellicent, or let them catch, you know, as long as they don't catch it somewhere it's not super effective or not very effective, you're going to be looking fine. They swap into a Cradily to catch a Focus Blast, which is not a good shout. We catch a Stone Edge on a Swampert from a Cradily. Absolute ballsy play, but it super pays off for us in this matchup. That might sound like absolute insanity, but then at that point the Cradily was too low to have a Grass Knot as well, so we could just farm it down with Mudshot as well. So really strong position to be in. I'd be absolutely fuming if someone caught a Stone Edge from Cradily on a Swamp from me, but you love to see it sometimes. Jellicent's going to come into meters. We're going to go for the Earthquake and the Hydro Cannon because shields are all down at this point. We get them very, very low. The Cradily is no threat whatsoever at this point because it's not got the energy to do anything left. It's just, we'll just Dragon Breath it down or Lock on it down whenever it comes back in. Bring in Kyurem to sort this Shadow Ball because we're out of shields and we figure Red Ice is going to have more play in the back end because that Sandslash is still alive and we need the Focus Blast to take them out, which we are going to get to. Wouldn't matter if they got to a Bulldoze there. Still would have knocked us out. We're going to absolutely annihilate Sandslash, bang it out of there. I'm going to lock on down the Cradily for the win. So very meta line, bad lead, still take the win. Telling you, man, this team, Red Ice, super strong. All right, we've got another Cradily lead. Let's try the actual game plan. So we throw the Glaciate because we will get there before they get to a Stone Edge. This will hit for super effective damage because Rock doesn't actually resist Ice type damage, even though Rock's super effective to Ice. And now we can shield up. Doesn't matter what this is. It's Grass Knot or Stone Edge. We'll farm them down before they get to a Stone Edge. They only have to pay one shield in this match if they let the Glaciate go through. Farm them down entirely. And a Blaziken comes in, right? Blaziken's going to get a hell of a farm off of Kyurem at this point, but also the Dragon Breaths are going to add up. We get the Dragon Claws through to do big damage. They're going to throw before we get to the second Dragon Claw because they realise that we're very, very close to it. That's fine. We can line Swamp up with it. And they've got Tentacruel in the back that we can meet with our Thunder Red Ice, which is putting us in a very strong position. We can spend Red Ice here. We're not going to shield it. It doesn't matter what they throw. We don't care. They can debuff us, then they can throw a Scald if they want. We don't mind. It'll take us out. That's cool. Swampert is the win condition because we cannot let the Blaziken get ahead on energy farming down Red Ice anyway, because that's going to give it access to get to Brave Bird, which is going to just obliterate Swampert anyway. So we're going to keep letting these moves come through. This is a Scald. It'll take us out. And that's fine because then we can bring in Swampert. We're going to be resisting those poison jabs to mean we can build up tons of energy to have a Hydro Cannon in the back to actually one-shot that Blaziken when it does come back in, and that's going to give us the win. The opponent realises there's nothing they can do, and they're going to surrender. GG. But speaking of Blaziken, Blaziken leads are very, very tough for this team in general, and the way you want to play a Blaziken lead, if you do run into one, is you got to stay in with Kyurem. Kyurem has better play than Red Ice does against Blaziken overall. The Dragon Breaths are going to be doing big damage. The Dragon Claws are going to threaten him. We're going to be able to get a shield out of them, and you get them pretty low just with the Dragon Breaths if they shield up Dragon Claw, and then you go for an aggressive Mudshot down with Swampert, and then hopefully Red Ice can sweep the back of the game because a lot of Blaziken leads aren't ready for a Red Ice in the back. But it is a tough matchup. I've won some matches against Blaziken leads with this team, but they're not easy, and if they got the wrong stuff in the back, you're going to lose because you're on the back foot already. You're going to have already lost Kyurem, you took some damage on Swampert, you're not going to have switch advantage. Yeah, it can be pretty tough. In this match in particular, we had Jellicent on the lead, which we managed to take care of. We've now got our Red Ice lined up with an Alolan Sandslash in the back, which is great, because as long as it's not got Gyro Ball, we're not feeling particularly threatened. We are going to shield up the first, just in case it is Gyro Ball, but it's not. It's Bulldoze. So now we're comfortable to let the next charge move come through no matter what it is, because no one in their right mind is running Gyro Ball and Bulldoze on their Alolan Sandslash. We get both shields out of them. Doesn't matter. We can let this go. It's an Ice Punch, not very effective. Bulldoze does less than half, even with the Shadow Claws, so we can take another one of those very, very comfortably. Focus Blast is going to absolutely wipe them out, and it's going to give us this match as well. GG. Honestly, it's crazy the amount of teams you can run through with Red Ice and just force shields and just obliterate things, because it's so bulky, you can just take the hits and you can flip shield advantage back in your favour in a lot of situations. Right, Cradily lead, doing the same thing again. Glaciate, ideally we don't get the shield. A lot of teams don't shield the Glaciate, I'm not really sure why. And then we're just going to farm them down entirely. They swap out to Regice, and we're going to choose to throw a Dragon Claw, soften them up a little bit, and then swap to our own Regice, because that means that we can land 1 Focus Blast to take them out, but they've got to land 2 to take us out. So it puts us in a little bit of a solid position, or I think it does anyway. They actually try and bait us with the Thunder, which is very, very nice to let through, because it really doesn't do all that much damage at all. We're not here to bait, we're going for the Focus Blast. They do shield up, that's completely fine. We don't mind starting to take shield advantage in this situation, but we are going to return the shield back, because we don't want to just let our Regice get absolutely obliterated for almost nothing. We're going to go for another Focus Blast ourselves, give us a shield or get wrecked, see what happens. They are going to shield up, right. So now we've got shield advantage, we'll let this go. If it's Focus Blast, we don't mind. It is the Focus Blast, does take us out. We're going to bring in the Swampert because we can get to a Hydro Cannon, I think, to finish them off before they get to another Focus Blast to do any serious damage. Actually swap out aggressively into Cradily. I don't know, they did have some energy, and I think they were hoping to throw that and force our last shield out of us, but as they swapped in, they threw a fast move, so we were able to throw the Hydro Cannon before they were able to actually activate their charge move and take them out, since they had no shields. And now they got Swampert, Lantern in the back, going to get Earthquaked into next week. Absolutely no worries, we can bring Kyurem in against the Regice, and even if this is a Focus Blast and it one-shots us, Swampert can get to a Hydro Cannon anyway. It is a Focus Blast, bang, Kyurem gets obliterated, doesn't matter, game still goes in our favour. I know I keep saying that Regice is the MVP on this team, but honestly Swampert, if they don't have like a Abomasnow on their line, or even like maybe a Jellicent with some shields, Swampert's really, really strong in general on its own and can put a lot of work in as well. Right, Jellicent Lead's going to swap out into an Alolan Sandslash straight away. We can bring in Swampert here, and this isn't the best matchup. Alolan Sandslash is really strong in this meta, because look at those Ice Punches. The second Ice Punch is going to be quite threatening to us. I suppose if you're not a Shadow Swampert, they're not quite as threatening, but also your Hydro Cannons aren't going to do as much. We go for a Hydro Cannon bait rather than the Earthquake, because them shielding an Earthquake is devastating in this matchup for you. So we decide to just go for Hydro Cannon spam, see if they want to start shielding up. We have given up a shield at this point. They let it go down. That's completely fine. We know we can get that shield back probably here, because we'll make it to this Earthquake, which is going to do huge damage, or give us the shield. It's probably going to get the shield, to be fair, but we don't want to bait and miss the potential to get that through. Going to make it to a Hydro Cannon as well, because they're going for a super aggressive farm down. Not a big stress, but also a Jellicent with energy is pretty versatile. Bit of an optimistic farm. We get to another Hydro Cannon, give us even more damage. That's fine. We're going to bring in Kyurem to absorb. I think we're going to let the first move go through, which we do. It's a Shadow Ball. Hits a pretty big chunk. This next move is going to be a Shadow Ball probably as well, but we're going to let it through. No, we'll shut up. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Yeah, because the Jellicent was a little bit far out of farm down range. Abomasnow in the back. Looking pretty solid here. We're going to go for the Glaciate to lower their attack at first, and now they've got to throw to take us out, which means they use up some of their energy, and then we can just sweep with the Regice, because we're going to be able to land. We're going to go for a Thunder Bait just because they're so low. They've still got a shield. Most charge moves are going to feel threatening at this point to them, so we're just going to go for the Thunder, save a little bit of energy, and try and take them out a little bit faster. And this Abomasnow actually lets it go through, which is absolutely crazy. And now we're going to go for a really aggressive lock-on down, because we realise that throwing the charge moves is not worth the stress right now. They bring in the Jellicent. We've got nearly 2 Thunders built up. Throw the Thunder, get the shield. We should get to the second Thunder, because this Jellicent is energy dry through a double Shadow Ball. Take them out. And now it's going to be an absolute race down to the wire between Resisted Powder Snow and lock-on. The Abomasnow gets to a move. It's all over, right? We've lost this game. No, it's a Weather Ball. It's not going to hit very hard at all. We can lock on down with 1 HP and a Dream and take the win. Absolutely crazy close game there. GG's. Okay, in this matchup, we're making absolute shambles of it all. So, Jellicent lead, pretty solid. They swap out into a Kingdra save swap. And the way I like to play this is you'll get to a Dragon Claw pretty quick, and you can force a shield out of them. So you throw the Dragon Claw, then swap to Regice. At this range, you have to land Focus Blast and not Thunder to knock them out. If it's a Shadow Kingdra, it's a little bit better. But they get the attack debuff, so we've definitely got to land Focus Blast at this point to finish them off. The Thunder's not going to do quite enough. It's not that strong of a move. This Focus Blast is going to get them into lock-on down range. And I decide to call that this is another Octazooka. And it's not. It's an outrage. Takes us out. Which isn't the most stressful thing because the king's just pretty low. We finish it off. Got shield advantage. But there's a low and Ninetales in the back. Charmer low and Ninetales, which is pretty spicy for this meta in general, but also Charmer low and Ninetales is pretty strong. And alignment, it turns out, was really, really key because Kyurem just goes entirely to waste lined up against that thing. And we were eager bringing Kyurem back in, so our switch clock was not expired yet, so we couldn't swap it out to try and preserve it or anything like that. Now we just got Swampert trying to hold the line against Jellicent and a low and Ninetales, which is not something that it can do. So I think we're just going to let it go. Or do we shield this up? No, I'm going to shield this up. Okay, we're going to go for a very aggressive mud shot down. They swap out aggressive to the Jellicent. See if we can get a shield with this Hydro Cannon, which we don't, just to add insult to injury. And there's not much we can do. We just can't win this game at this point. The damage is done. We really needed Kyurem lined up against the Jellicent, to be honest, because we just needed that extra chip damage. Swampert alone cannot carry this game, and it's going to be an L. GG to the opponent. And that's going to be the match that does push us up into the expert ranking over 2750 ELO rating. And the set after this, I did go 4-1 as well and go up to 2800 bang on. But I'm not going to show you those battles. I played one at the beginning of the video, and that's all I'm going to show from it. I don't want to drag this video out too long for you guys. If you like the team and the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to see more teams and tactics for the other cups in Go Battle League. Hopefully make a push for Legend rank soon, and I'll catch all you guys next time.